Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Zerg from YGG Gaming. I'm going to show you the Zerg army compositions and well, not compositions, but armies. So you got the drone. I already went over. This is like the awesome little guy that runs around with minerals in its hand to get to you minerals for armies. Zerglings, you make 2 at a time, and they can just run around and play together. They have 35 health and do 5 damage per hit. You can upgrade them to have you can make them into banelings. Banelings, I'll show you those. But these guys can have metabolic boosts, which will make them move a lot faster. They have wings too, so it looks pretty cool. And they can catch up to armies. So those guys are really good, especially in early game, obviously. Banelings, really good against light units. 35 damage versus light. They do exactly 35 damage, so you can instantly kill Zerglings. And they can explode, so that's how they attack. Or they can automatically target structures. Actually, this is not an ability in anymore. You cannot do this anymore. They don't have this unless I'm just completely not paying attention in all the ZVZs I've played. But yeah, I don't think that's available anymore. Anyway, next is the Roach. It has 16 damage and 145 health. Really good against, if you have a mass amount of these guys, they're really good in groups. I mean, they're basically your standard unit. That's the unit that you pretty much have every game. Hydralisks have less health, but they do, they do less damage, but they have, they attack faster, and they can hit air. They can also be turned into lurkers, and lurkers, basically, they burrow in the ground. I'll show you. Wow, that's not a lurker. I'll show you real quick. Lurkers, they can burrow into the ground. They do damage in a line. I'll just show you. You can burrow them, and then this is their radius, and they can hit anything in this radius. They shoot a little spike thing out, and they shred through armies because they do 30 damage versus armor, 20 damage regularly. They're really good. You can't see them unless you have detection. So pretty standard stuff. And then the Infester, these guys are really cool. So you can throw out a whole bunch of infested Terran. Each of these guys do 8 damage, so that's a lot of damage. As you can see here, boom, 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 boom. And then, so then you got fungal growth, which you throw out onto units, and it will stop them in place and do damage over time. Not a whole lot, but a good amount. After about 3 or 4 fungals, you can kill an muta. So if you have if you're going against a mutaflock, you can just use this and destroy them. Neuroparasite, you can take control of a single unit and for 11 seconds, and if this infestor dies, then it's no longer under your control. So then we have the lovely queen. This is probably really important because without this, you cannot have extra larvae. They can make creep tumors, which allow you to keep creeping, and spread your creep, which allows units to move faster. Transfusion, they can heal for 125 health on a single unit. That's really helpful. And burrow, they can go underground, and unless they are seen by detection, they cannot be seen. Overlords are your supply unit. You can make them into overseers, which are here. These guys are detectors, and they can drop changeling, which can run into the base and scout, and the other player won't really know unless they are like, oh, this is not mine. Contaminate, you know what? That is not an ability. Oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. That's not an ability anymore. No one used that ever. The only time that was used was against AI, and believe me, I would know because I played a lot against the AI. But yeah, contaminate is no longer an ability. That used to make it so that stuff can't upgrade or train units or for 21 seconds, and that's a really long time. So that's no longer an ability. Mutalisks. They just fly around. They have 9 damage. Their stuff bounces around to other units. So basically an area of effect thing, but its primary target takes the most damage. If you got a flock of these guys, they do a good amount of damage. Corruptors, these are your anti-air units for Zerg. They can be made into broodlords, which shoot little. I'll show you later, but they can use caustic spray, which can deal damage to a building for 7 damage, and increases 35 damage per second, and that's basically endless until the cooldown, and then it's a 32-second cooldown. So you can kill nobody really uses it much, but you can technically like kill hatcheries, kill like any other base with it, or even just buildings. Then we have the Broodlord. These guys shoot little broodlings onto the ground, and they shoot 2 broodlings at a target, and they have a short period of time they live, and they can do a lot of damage, especially like if you have a good 4, 5, 6 of them. That's really, really good for you. Ultralisks, they have a lot of health. They do a lot of damage. These guys do a little bit of splash damage, so anything in the way, like right here, is gonna get hit. This is really good against Marines and Marauders and stuff like that. Zerglings, simple stuff like that. Really good against that. Swarm Host, nobody uses these guys, but they're just in the game. I don't think you'll ever see a game where these are used. If you do, it's probably because someone misclicked and hit the Swarm Host. I have done that many times. What did I hit? Anyway, I've done that many times, where I hit S, and then I accidentally hit S again when I have the infestation bit. That happens. So that's really the only time this little guy gets used. Poor guy. But yeah, sorry. I should probably explain what it does. They basically shoot out locusts from their back, and they do damage. I mean, it's a pretty good amount of damage. Vipers are really complicated units. What these guys do is you can basically use consume on usually your base, because otherwise you're probably going to get killed. So you can just gain energy by taking damage from a thing. Usually people do it on evolution chambers or hatcheries. Abduct pulls like liberators or siege tanks into your area, so you can just destroy them easily. Blinding Cloud makes it so that anything in this area right here below this Viper, anything in that area has to become a melee unit. So like Marines or something, they have to be right in front of their opponent to be able to actually do damage. Parasitic Bomb, this puts a little ring around a lot of units. I'll show you real quick. Let's do that. So this thing, you just go up. I should probably hit the right button. There. And then that basically does damage to everything else in the area. So then there's the little latch thing. So as you can see, it does a good amount of damage. It's basically like an infestor, but the stuff can still move, and it does a little bit more damage. Then the last unit is the Lurker, which I already showed you. Sorry, the last unit is the Ravager. This guy right here, he shoots a little corrosive bile onto the ground. It takes 2 seconds to get to the ground, and it does 60 damage. And these guys have a lot better range than Ravagers. They have, I think, 1 or 2 extra range, and they do the same amount of damage. They're basically a Ravager, but they're a little bit more expensive because you have to morph them. But they can throw these things down, which do a lot of damage into a little area, as you saw here. This hits about 3 Marines at a time, but if you have a lot spread out, they do a lot of damage. So that is your Zerg guide to StarCraft 2. Thank you for watching. I am Master Zerg from YGG Gaming. Subscribe if you want to see more videos. And like and comment if you liked this. Dislike it if you disliked it. My voice is starting to hurt because I was just sick and I have to cough again. So thank you for watching. See you next time.